You have entered the Command Zone, your destination for all aspects of Elder Dragon Highlander. Enjoy your stay.
Country roads take me home to the place where I belong, playing card games, something, take me home, country roads.
Wow. That was perfect. Just flawless.
Oh
my gosh.
Absolutely.
Flawless.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Command Zone podcast. I'm your host, Ashlen Rose.
I'm not Lee Kwai.
And this is a totally normal episode of the Command Zone podcast.
Absolutely. This is what you've been listening to every week for like 5 years now. Completely normal.
Yep. Nothing's changed. Not a thing, no.
But for those of you just tuning in for the first time, I am, again, Ashlen Rose, a voice actor, cosplayer, and you may have seen me on a couple episodes of Game Nights as well.
How's it? I'm not Lee Kwai. I'm Olivia Gobert-Hicks. I am a member of the Commander Advisory Group, a Commander enthusiast myself, and also a Game Night. Hey.
I'm TappyToeClaws. My human name is Sydney, and I'm a loud dinosaur from the internet, and the doors aren't raptor-proof, so I got in, and they gave me a microphone, so I'm here now. I also have opposable thumbs, so I play games sometimes.
Yeah, Commander games.
Good times. The ones we're talking about.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. Today we're going to be talking about a topic that's near and dear to our hearts. You may see us traveling a lot with cosplays, which means that we usually find ourselves in new playgroups all the time.
All the time.
And being in a new playgroup can be really unnerving and scary because it's a whole new experience. You don't know what to expect.
And you don't know those people.
Exactly.
or even just trying to, hunt one through the savannah to find, to play with.
Magic.
To play magic with.
Magic.
That's what I was going to say.
So we're going to be talking about how to make it easier to sit across from new people for the first time. But before we do that, we got to give a shout out to our sponsors of the show. The first one being Card Kingdom. Be sure to use our affiliate link, cardkingdom.com/command zone to buy all of your Commander product, sealed things, boosters, a lot of different things, actually. It's just an all-around great place to buy, like, games in general.
Singles.
Super fast shipping. They also do a lot of charity work. They're a fantastic group of people, too.
And you can get really awesome hand-drawn tokens, too, if you ask them very nicely.
That's right. Yeah. And then our second sponsor of the show is UltraPro, who sells all sorts of amazing magic accessories. They have, new deck boxes, sleeves, playmats with every release. The Thero stuff looks amazing.
Those constellation art pieces are incredible.
Has me seeing stars.
Oh, goodness. So, yeah, check out UltraPro. You can find their stuff on cardkingdom.com/command zone.
Can we throw?
Yeah. Oh, yes. I'm so sorry. We have to throw. We get to do the throw that we do every show. We have a lot of pages today.
Yeah,
Buckle up.
We're going to throw so much paper.
Yeah.
And then finally, you can support the show directly through patreon.com/command zone. Jimmy and Josh usually cut out one lucky patron every week for the podcast.
Who are Jimmy and Josh?
Never heard of them.
They're people that we
subs, right?
Yeah. Yes,
that's right. They're the guys that come in and do
we
the show
usually
for us
call out new patrons every week. So this week is dedicated to
Alexander Mikulashek. Alexander, you rock.
Thank you for your support.
You can tell we practice this and do it all the time.
Yes, all the
We're
time.
naturals
Every week.
at this. Yeah.
So the main topic, playing outside your playgroup. It's something that hasn't really been talked about on the show before.
Yeah.
I know we've addressed things like problems in the playgroup and all sorts of things like that, but
what if you don't have a playgroup?
What if this is the first time with this playgroup?
yeah, once if you just moved and you found your LGS, this new LGS you want to play at, what are things that you want to consider, prepare for? How do you do it? How to playgroup?
How to playgroup. So the first thing you should probably do when you sit down with a new group of people is introduce yourself. I know this sounds crazy, novel even. Tell them your name. Tell them where you're from. If that's something that's easy to just, hey, I'm new here. Totally reasonable thing to say to somebody and start a conversation of, I don't know anyone here, please help.
Yeah, another good thing is to maybe introduce yourself and also say how long you've been playing Magic too, which might also give people an idea of how familiar you are to the game. So if you've been playing Magic for 10 years, 5 years, did you just start?
I mean, there's nothing wrong with like starting to build the rapport, right?
Not at all.
That's why not set the expectation of I'm trying to be nice. Let's be nice and have fun.
And it's very typical. Like, don't be like dismayed or like put off of it if people seem kind of lukewarm. Like everyone, like being new or introducing yourself is always going to be awkward. Like there's no way around it. Like things are awkward, and it's okay to be awkward. And you just get through it and start slinging spells, and usually everyone warms up, and you can get like a read on people.
Absolutely. And nobody's good at it. Some people are just better at hiding that awkward than others. We meet people all the time, and it's still kind of scary and unnerving to be like, just put myself out there. Hi.
Yeah, exactly. Just put yourself out there.
But the good thing is you're obviously there for the same thing. Because everyone's there to play Magic. So you already have something that you know you have in common with these people. To what degree, we're not sure. That's what we're trying to figure out. But you definitely want to be doing the same thing, which is having fun playing Magic.
Yes.
So, like, once you kind of have that idea, you do kind of have to have the power level discussion. It's been talked into the ground, and there's plenty of other episodes where this podcast specifically goes into it. That would be episode 295 of the podcast, which is how to determine your deck's power level. There's a lot of other great podcasts who have also done episodes. Olivia obviously is on the CAG, and she's talked about it too.
Oh, yeah. So we're not going to talk about power level.
Yeah, it's not going to be the main subject of conversation here.
Go watch those things.
But you should probably have a short discussion with the people you're now sitting with to try and establish, again, a baseline and see where everybody is so you can all have an enjoyable experience.
And that can be like, and it doesn't necessarily have to be like the exact power level, because I know people kind of roll their eyes at that sometimes, because like it is very, very subjective and interpreted differently by different people. So there are different ways that I've found at events when I'm at, like to introduce my deck and give people an idea of what my deck is without necessarily being like, this is an 8, good luck figuring out what that means.
Right, exactly.
It's kind of like the qualitative versus like the quantitative data. Sorry, science nerd over here. Whereas power level is like a number, and then the qualitative description is also equally important.
Yeah, exactly. I think one of the ones I found myself using the most now is kind of, I don't know what you call it, but it's like your win con turn. Like, this deck is going to go off probably around turn 5.
It's honestly it is. It's kind of like, I want to do this with this deck.
Yeah. I think I agree with you. Having a range of which turn basically you could become unstoppable is a pretty good way of gauging the tempo of the game and how quick it's going to be going.
And if you're not sure and like you still don't have an idea, you can dig a little deeper on what the feel is for this. Like you don't have to be like, oh, okay, great, let's play. You can ask questions and start conversations and let them know, like, I'm playing Kozilect. I'm going to counter a lot of things and play a lot of big monsters with tentacles.
Or, hey, this is a Prosh deck, but I'm not running Food Chain.
Yes.
Yep. Or even just saying like, hey, I'm playing a Voltron deck. It's a very powerful Voltron deck, but obviously we've already kind of talked about you're not going to combo off with your Voltron deck probably.
And then one thing also that I think is important, because I've noticed this at several events, is when you sit down and introduce your commander, like, I tend to avoid like being like, oh, this is a Kozilect deck, or oh, this is a Prosh deck, because I feel like that leads to a lot of people making assumptions on what your deck is, and then people like target you, and like you have to have the offhanded thing of like, oh, but this isn't that version. This is a fun blah 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 version.
Sure.
And you certainly don't have to like reveal the entire strategy of your deck by asking those kind of questions or anything. You can just say, you know what, it's token matters.
Yeah.
And that doesn't have to tell you anybody any cards that you're using, anything else. Just here's an idea.
Exactly. All right, shall we? Wow, we're so good at this.
So another thing, obviously, is understanding that everybody's ideal experience is probably a little different.
Yeah.
You want to be honest with yourself and obviously everybody else that you're playing with that, or for what you want out of a game of Commander. And it's a good way to manage that expectation across the table. Like if you sit down with a bunch of people that say, we want to play fast and we want to play powerful, and you have a fast and powerful deck, play your fast and powerful deck. Like establish that that's what you all want and you're all going to have fun doing it and party on.
And it's not only necessarily about the type of deck that you're playing, but if you're all playing with fast and powerful decks, are you playing a fast and powerful game? I mean, I have extremely fast and powerful decks, like my dumb Joyra deck that's banned at most tables that I've ever sat at. But you know who misplays every other turn? Me still. So I don't sit down and play fast and powerful Magic, even though I have the fast and powerful deck, because I'm still going to durdle around and forget how my Sensei's Dividing Top trigger works.
Right.
And the people that want to play those kinds of decks are completely valid, and that's a great way to
yeah.
play Magic. That's just not the way that I'm like even enjoy or really am capable of.
And, there are things to consider, obviously, too, before you even sit down at the table. Like, are you in a prized or ticketed event?
Yes.
Because it's not probably going to be the casual, we're here to make friends or, like, find a new playgroup. It's, let's get this done. I'm looking for, the prizes in the middle.
Yeah.
If you guys want to keep playing after whomever's done or whatever, go for it. But we have a goal here of, like, acquiring something out of it. So those might be a little bit more competitive, and that's something to keep in mind.
Yeah, and then like even if you're at an F&M, like some tables they want to play more fast paced. Like they've known each other, they want to get through as many games as possible, and they don't want as much chatter, which is completely valid. And some tables love to they want to catch up. Every turn takes 5 minutes.
Yep, they want to talk about your pets during your draw step. So
Right. Yeah, exactly.
I think you had a good point that you mentioned to me too, realizing like how casual or not casual the setting is can be really important, and you might not realize like that some people are looking for more of like that chatter.
Yeah, some people are looking for like the social experience is what they're looking for, and then it's just the vessel of that social experience is the game. Whereas some people, the fact that it happens to be in a social setting is secondary to the game happening first and foremost. So that's, obviously like Olivia said, if you're sitting down for a ticketed event where you're playing Commander for some kind of prize, it's kind of self-selecting for that. Whereas if there's a bunch of people playing, at like the convention center cafe on a table while they eat their fries and drink some coffee, that's not to say that these things are always like this, but it is a little bit self-selecting in that regard.
It's a little bit of a different mindset when you're playing outside in the cafe versus I just paid money to be in this event and get a prize out of it.
Exactly.
Yeah. And another thing to consider too is if you're bringing new decks, if you have a new commander, anything like that, if this is brand new, if you're like play testing this deck, it's probably wise to mention that this is something you need to consider. Hey, everybody, like I just built this. This is like the second or third time playing it. I might be a little bit slow on these interactions. If that doesn't really fly at the table or everybody's really comfortable or they're looking for a different style, maybe grab a different deck, play test at a different one. It's all good.
Yeah. And this goes double too for if you are traveling with somebody, because sometimes when you're going to, especially when you're going to Magic Fest or any kind of thing like that, if you have a friend who's newer to the game and they're a little bit less unsure of themselves, take it upon yourself to say like, hey, I'm with my friend Frank and Frank is a newer player. Is it okay if we sit down?
Oh, yeah.
And don't necessarily put that onus on them to apologize for their newness, because no one should apologize for their newness. But at the same time, it's nobody's job to sit down with a newer player and teach them how to play.
Right.
Like that's not something that they want to be doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's just not going to be a fun experience, and you want to go into a table that is welcoming, like that can support that essentially.
Exactly. That has kind of the mental bandwidth to deal with.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So once you're kind of on that train and you're going to make sure that everyone kind of has the same conception of what they want to do. Everyone's kind of playing around the same power level. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a huge, long discussion either. It can be a really quick, hey, what kind of power level are we talking about? Are we playing powerful decks? Are we playing combo decks? Is it okay if we have some take backsies? Is it okay if my new friend sits down? How are we going to do this? The important part is, honestly, to just like try to not be shy and be direct too.
Yeah.
So kind of don't beat around the bush. Just say like, hey, my friend Frank is new, or hey, this is a really powerful deck. Do you mind if I play with you guys?
Yeah. And we want to clarify again, time and over, there is no right or wrong way to be playing Commander.
No, yeah.
It's like, if you want to go absolutely bonkers, let's see what I can do it. That's awesome. And you should be able to play the game that way and enjoy it. Just make sure that you get to find other people that are on the same level that also find a challenge in trying to stop you.
Exactly.
Or that aren't going to have the feel bads when they're coming in with decks that are meant to be taking a lot more turns. And then everybody has to feel bad.
You want to make sure everyone is expecting the same experience so that everyone has a good time.
Right. But there, again, is no right or wrong way. Combo players should play Commander. Stacks players should play Commander.
And Stacks
Dirtly players
probably not.
Dirtly players should play Commander. I mean, there's going to be a subset for everybody, and there's going to be people that find challenges in playing against those very well-tuned decks, and those very aggressive decks, and those very dirtly decks. Like, just find your group and make sure everybody's there with you.
Like, I've never met a CEDH player who's happy sitting down at a casual table.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they're probably going to win, but that's
no
not the
challenge,
kind of experience they want. They don't want to make people feel bad. They want to have that competitive thing, and to do that competitive experience that they want, they need other competitive players.
Yeah. And I think the other last thing on this topic probably is that you also want to establish if it is a casual setting, rule 0, can we play with silver border? Can we play or I've had plenty of people go, are proxies okay? I don't. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Do your thing. I just want to play a game of Commander and have fun.
Hey guys, I'm running an Emrakul Aeon's Torn. Do you mind?
Not at all. Please.
Get out.
Don't look at me like that. Maybe I'll make a braid stack. What? It's okay. It is okay to, get creative with your deck building, to have fun. You can always have two options. You can have your silver bordered, your banned cards that are sitting on the side and be like, hey, if this table's cool, I've got 5 I'm going to shuffle in and we're going to go crazy and see where this goes.
Yeah.
And if you guys aren't cool with that, that's fine. I have 5 legal options. I'll keep them in there. No big deal.
Exactly.
You can just talk to people and find out the craziest things. It's like they might say yes. Yeah, sure. Play your Earl of Squirrel deck. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, it's really easy to have a silver border commander or a planeswalker commander, and if that's not something that's cool at the table, just swap it out with another one.
Yeah, exactly. I know Kessler. when we were at Command Fest,
Alex Kessler, Magic Modern.
Yes, he was playing Nahiri. I was like, sure, let's see where this goes.
Yeah, but I think he has another Boros commander that he just pops into it if people aren't cool with planeswalkers. So.
And it's a really fun way to play. And again, rule 0. The best part about that is that the rules committee is not going to come to your table and say, we said this was banned. You can never use it ever. Just if everyone else at the table is fine with it, play with it. Yeah. Do it. Have fun. Have fun. Check out new stuff. See, maybe you'll find out why those cards got banned. Or maybe you'll have a really strong opinion that they shouldn't be.
I love seeing people play with weird cards.
Yeah.
With weird silver bordered stuff or, whatever. So.
Okay, great. Well, now that we've talked about kind of the basics of getting started and sitting down, we are going to finally start to talk about what to do while you're actually playing. But before we get into it, we are going to hear a word from our sponsors.
Yay.
This week, we are super grateful because once again, our episode is brought to you by MeUndies.
And it's always easy to talk about MeUndies because we legitimately love their products.
Yeah.
And they're always updating their catalog with new patterns, new types of items, clothing for your pets, and more.
Yeah, they even have some new loungewear that I'm really excited to try out. Plus, Valentine's Day is right around the corner, and MeUndies has 3 new designs if you're looking to buy a gift for someone or just yourself.
So, Jimmy, true story. It was my birthday just a few weeks ago.
Yes.
And one of my presents from my girlfriend was MeUndies.
Oh.
Probably because I've been raving about them so much. So I can attest they are the perfect gift.
Yeah, they really do make the most comfortable undies in the world. So come on in and partake in the comfiest clothing ever. Go to MeUndies.com/command for a 100% satisfaction guarantee.
And if you're a first-time purchaser, you'll get 15% off and free shipping. Seriously, this is a no-brainer. Go to MeUndies.com/command and get a pair today.
All right, we're back talking about Commander and playing outside your playgroup. Now that we've established what everyone's playing and the experiences that they're expecting, let's talk about some maybe tips and things to consider, like courteous Commander.
Heyo.
Which, I've had pretty great experiences with that, but there are some things you want to keep in mind that you may not have thought of when you're playing Commander.
Everyone's had that bad experience.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're not going to talk about those, but everyone's had one.
Yeah. We're going to talk about maybe how to avoid.
And some people have been that. I have been that without realizing it. So.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. So just because we have different experiences, let's maybe not backseat command somebody else's deck.
Yes.
Primarily. Be really mindful of explaining someone's card if you feel like you're more familiar with it or you see a different interaction than you're used to, or maybe a non-optimal one. Just because it's not the optimal play doesn't mean it's still not an okay play.
Yeah, you don't know what's in their hand.
Exactly.
You don't know what, maybe that's just the way they like to play it. It's Commander, and if you're playing, especially if you're not playing in a Tix event, you're playing for fun, why does it matter?
Well, especially, too, a lot of people, when they're in a new setting, it's really scary to be the person to like make a first move, like to make the first attack or to remove somebody's key piece of something. Like, say I've never met Ashlen before and I can see that she's going off, but I want her to like me. Am I going to like counter her key piece? Because I know for some people, I mean, I would, because I'm a horrible person and I don't care. But I know that some people might not want to kind of stand out like that, especially like making that first attack, I think might be like really scary. And you also don't want to make yourself the target if you're in, you don't know, is this a group of 3 friends who are going to immediately come after?
Arch enemy? Yeah, exactly.
To be fair, in my experience, usually, if you're playing with a group of 3 friends, they usually have someone in that group who they want to kill.
It's true.
Find that out.
They might recruit you into that.
Yeah,
and then all of a sudden
You're playing-
and then you have 2 other friends now.
If you're playing against a husband and wife, chances are they're probably trying to kill each other.
Oh yeah, guaranteed.
It's 9 times out of 10 in my experience.
Yeah, that's for sure. And like, just not necessarily tell people what to do if you see that that play is being missed, or maybe just remind them, hey, just FYI, Mentor of the Meek is still out, or like give them a heads up, but let them make the determination themselves and take it from there.
Yeah.
And if the play they're making isn't the same one you would, that's okay.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I get it. Like, I've done that before without realizing it, because I was like, oh, I want to be helpful. I want it to be right. And it's like if it's not a judge call that's going to affect the game, like, let them be the one to be like, I messed up or something like that. Like, it's really up to them. It's their deck. And you don't want to make someone feel like, even pointing something out like that out can be very embarrassing too. Like, I am so hard on myself for misplays a lot. And like, when someone's like, oh, you could have done, I was like, oh crap, no, I'm not taking it back now.
I did that on purpose. I wanted to make it more interesting.
I wanted to see how good you guys were, if you'd catch my mistake. That's not the case. I had no idea that interaction was there. I'm sorry. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
And another one that I just like, I don't know, it's always been normal for me, and like, I don't mind, but there is a thing, like, people like to like foil out their commander decks. They have really nice cards in them. Like, always ask before you touch someone's card.
Yes.
Yeah. Always ask. Oh my God, can I see
polite.
this? Or
I like to use the word, can I see it with my hands?
Oh, okay. I never thought of that.
I caught myself just as a turn of phrase that I use a lot, because I do kind of want to see it close by, but also never expect that you can touch anybody's anything, much less like, potentially something that's really expensive.
Yeah.
that's not yours.
Yeah, and also it's not yours. So, but at the same time, it's a great way to see some really cool stuff.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
I have I have a Niv Mizzet Perrin, my spell slinging deck. And the commander is a special proxy that the proxy guy made me. It's one of a kind. It will never be done again, because it's so special. And people look at it and they're like, what promo is that? What thing? And it has never existed. And it's not an expensive card, but it's the only one that will ever exist. So I don't want to just hand it over. But when people ask really nicely, I'm happy to show it off, because it's really cool.
Yeah, any proxies, for the most part, I like just the show proxies I always have like the actual card behind it.
Yeah.
So if it does come up or someone, doesn't want to play with proxies, fine, I'll flip it over. We're good. Yeah, it's always nice to like go to these events and be able to show off some of this cool stuff that you have. And it's also okay to be mindful of like, I don't want just anybody touching things. Like, you can hand it to them. You can, just be mindful that if you wouldn't want it done to your card, they may have the same hesitations about handing theirs over.
And I think, and I also think that like, it's also just courteous, like, to say it, like, it shows them, hey, I am thinking about like you and your cards, and so I'm going to let you know I'm being considerate of
respecting you and your stuff.
Your property. Yeah, exactly. So even if you're not like, obviously you're not going to mess it up, but yeah.
Yeah. And into that vein, like, don't hesitate not only to ask, hey, can I see that, but ask them what it does.
Oh, yeah.
If you're not sure, or you don't remember, or you've never seen that card, because Commander, and we frequently don't see cards
the cool
that hit
thing
the table.
about Commander is there's weird cards that people dig out from, like 8th edition, that if you're a newer player, you have no idea what this old card does.
And I can't like, the number of times that when I was first starting playing Commander, where I would just be like, oh, okay, and like not know what a card does,
and you just
came back to bite me. Like, I was like, and then like when they're going off with that card that I probably could have removed, I'm like, oh,
I should have read it.
That was a
cool
combo piece.
Yeah.
I had no idea, and I didn't even ask.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's something too that really does come up more when you're traveling, because I know that in my personal play group, I do kind of know my friends' decks. Like, even friends who have like, 9, 12 decks, when you play like every Friday, you kind of know, oh, this is the Torbrand deck. This is what this card does. This is the red prison piece. This is why this goes. I have to destroy that land. Mm-hmm. But when you play against either somebody else's completely different Torbrand build or a completely different deck that doesn't even have Reddit at all. So
I think one of the things too is it's even harder when you're traveling, when you're in a new group, because you don't want to seem like you don't know what you're doing.
Yep.
You don't want to put yourself out and become vulnerable of saying like, I don't know what that card does. They're like, well, why not? It's the commander staple. It's like, yeah, not in my play group. I've never used it. Let me see it. Like, I need to know what this does. That's part of the board state. And it's okay, especially in commander, because there's 4 people playing and things can get crazy. Like, it's a lot to try to remember maybe everything that's going on in your board state. My Karametra Enchantress deck, I'm sorry. I tell people, just keep going without me. Like, I got to finish this.
Oh, goodness.
It's ridiculous, but there's so many different things I need to pay attention to. It's easy for me to forget, oh, by the way, this is out on someone else's board. So don't hesitate to ask and, just put yourself out there and be like, I'm sorry, I totally don't remember what this card does. You can always play it that you forgot. Of course I know what it is. It's just, oh, right, it's that one. Don't be afraid to be vulnerable and ask the question.
And like honestly, like I've been to a lot of Magic Fest and Command Fest and sat down from a lot of people with Commander. And most of the time, if you're like, oh, okay, like I get what this card does, but I don't understand like what's the point of it in your deck, or like what does this card do? Most people are really happy to explain like how this piece works in their deck because they built the deck and they're excited about it and they want to play it. So you get to like see them be excited explaining their deck. So don't be afraid to ask.
Yeah, never be afraid to ask.
I think one other really important part that we can kind of round off this chunk is you don't have to play with any one play group ever again if it doesn't work out.
Yeah.
You don't have to sit down with the first group of like people that you see, you play one game, and if it was not the most fun that you've ever had, not everybody should or has to be best friends.
Yes.
Some people's personalities are just going to rub up against each other the wrong way. Or if you accidentally sit down with a group that wants to be a little spikier, if it went a little bit too fast for you and they were playing a little bit too competitively, that's fine. That's nobody's fault.
Yeah.
That just means that you should go and find another group of people.
Hey guys, great game. Thank you for having me. I'm going to go check out some other pods.
Yep, perfect.
Bam.
Easy peasy.
Done.
Thanks for the game. See you around.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you're at an LGS, the groups you might have a few less options if you're at a local game store. Always feel free to go up to the game store employees and ask them. Just be like, hey, I noticed that a lot of people are playing really competitive Commander around here. Do you know if there's a group that plays a little more casually? And they might not know, but it never hurts to ask.
Oh, yeah.
Especially like LGS employees, honestly, I don't think I've ever met one that like didn't want to help you. They should be paid to be there at least, but and they want people to have a good experience because they want you to come back to the store. They want you to spend money and be there. So it never hurts to ask or even say like, hey, is this a competitive event? Is there another one another day? Is there just open play another day? And then obviously if you're making use of an LGS's employees and you're asking them questions and you're kind of picking their brain, make sure to buy something.
Some dice or something.
Yeah, some dice. I love having souvenir dice from speaking of traveling, I love having random souvenirs from everywhere that I go. But just kind of making sure that, if you're talking to an employee and they're helping you for 20 minutes, like buy some dice, buy a snack or anything. Or if the event has a paid entry, then at least, obviously you're already paying for that. But if it's some places just have free EDH play where you just kind of sit down at a table.
Yeah.
So,
oh yeah, another thing, don't go crazy on politics with a brand new table.
Yeah.
Where you don't know the dynamic and you are maybe a completely new variant to it.
If you're a new person, like politics is about trust in a way.
For game 2.
Yeah, like you want to build trust. You don't want to like go on out and like be this like sneaky edgelord that's like, hey, let's team up against these two. I mean, it could be fun and it might work. Yeah. Most of the time, I'm like, if someone tries to politics, I'm just like, no, I'm good.
I just want to play my deck out and see where it takes me.
Yeah. And if you are not the new person in a group and you have a new person who's going crazy with the politics, I know Josh has talked about this like in depth, but like it's pretty easy to say like or throw it back at them and be like, no, I want to see how this goes, or you got to do what you got to do. At the end of the day, that's the great way to help guide them without like shutting them down.
Yeah, the biggest thing about the whole courteous thing is that like just roll with the game, right?
Yeah.
I mean, just roll with it. Be nice. Not everything's going to go perfectly. Who doesn't make misplays?
I've never made a misplay in my whole life.
Sure. You've never told a lie either.
Nope.
So there's a lot of things that are going on. So just be willing to see where it takes you, and maybe you get a new playgroup person out of it, and maybe you find a new group out of it, and then you guys can start politicking, and you can be more
the fun
aggressive
things,
and poking fun at each other's mistakes and misplays and pointing them out, and have a good time and have a rapport established. That means you get to be friendly about it and have an enjoyable experience.
Yeah.
So, next up, we should really be prepared when we show up at these games.
Oh my gosh. I am like the least prepared person. It's so bad.
No, I will fight you. I'm the worst because I show up with decks that are supposed to make tokens, and I distinctly will leave my tokens in the hotel
never
room,
bring my
or they're in a
tag.
different bag.
Yeah.
I am the worst. So I'll roll up, and I'll be playing my Taste deck that has tons of, different tokens that come out. It's like spirits and everything. And I'll end up having to put a quarter on the table and like a D20 underneath it and be like, no, it's this many 2/2 flying spirits. And then this one's actually, don't be like me. Don't do that. That's not nice. It's not helpful. Try to remember to bring the tokens you need. A lot of the bigger events, you can purchase tokens there if the worst comes
The
down
artists
to it.
have amazing tokens.
The artists
that
have
you can
amazing
get.
things. So don't forget tokens, dice, playmat if you want, but not necessary. Just make sure that you have everything you need for your board state to be clear to everyone else and be able to play the game efficiently.
Yeah, I think I never bring I try to bring my tokens.
You really try.
And especially when you're traveling to an event, like you like throw stuff in your suitcase and you can only fit so much. It's like Tetris in there with cosplays. So tokens get forgotten sometimes. And a way to keep track of life. Lifelinker.
Lifelinker app.
But bring a battery as well to charge your phone if you're the one volunteering, because yes.
A charger, cable, and a battery pack is...
Also, if you do realize that you've forgotten your tokens or dice or anything like that, mention that at the beginning before you start the game. And be like, hey, just want you guys to know I cannot find my dice bag anywhere. Does anybody have a couple extra? I do need them for some of these things. At least smooth that out. So everyone's under the same expectations of, oh yeah, okay, so those dice are actually spirits and these ones are tree folk and this,
Oh yeah.
Being prepared also doesn't necessarily limit yourself to just the things that you need to play a game. If you're going to be anywhere for a long period of time, you're going to be a happier person if you're just more comfortable. So, snacks. Nobody likes the hangry friend.
No.
Having been the hangry friend before.
I'm the snack bearing friend.
I kind of wilt. Like I don't get hangry. I just kind of like,
you drop a couple decibels, actually.
I fall over a little bit. So, things like that. Having things like, water, definitely. If you're going to be talking to people, you definitely want to be able to drink something.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a little bit different if you're in an LGS versus like a Magic Fest or something like that.
Right.
But convention lighting can be horrible
Awful.
for your eyes. They can really hurt. Like in
They honestly trigger. I feel like I've noticed that I frequently get more migraines out of events. So
Yep.
I have to make sure I have like ibuprofen or some type of medicine.
The
to,
noise doesn't help either.
No, it
No,
does not.
it does not. Oh, that's right. That's
Yeah.
true.
It's
It
constantly
is loud at those, isn't it?
And then this is maybe the little plug we should make, where if you're going ever out to meet people to like a crowded public event, make sure to take care of your personal hygiene. So make sure that, you are presented as somebody that you would want to sit down and play a game with.
Right. And don't forget hand sanitizer.
Hand sanitizer
yes.
and wash your hands.
Also, because those land stations are where everybody's
I
touching
know.
things. Everyone is touching the lands at land stations. That's why you should really bring hand sanitizer because, oh my goodness, you do not know what just happened there beforehand.
And one of the tricks I've actually learned from going to events is fist bumping. If someone fist bump you, it's not like they don't want to shake hands. Well, they don't want to shake hands, but not in a mean way. It's I don't want to get sick. Like we travel a lot. We can't
a lot
afford
less-
to get sick.
Yep.
Elbows too.
Yeah, elbows too. Voice acting. I will be out of work if I am sick because I cannot use my voice. Right. So fist bumps are great.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. So just think about stuff that you could, not all the contingencies, because that's a lot of contingencies.
It's a
But
lot.
think about things that could happen at a con that would suck. A headache, being hungry, being thirsty, and not being able to get up or have the ability to go find snacks because you're in the middle of a game. Have something there with you. Like try to be mindful of that going in and be ready for that.
Yeah, for sure. There's a few things that can make being prepared like a little bit easier, like having the right equipment. Obviously, UltraPro has some really cool stuff that you can carry your cards in. Part of being successful is setting yourself up to succeed. And as much as I'm like the least organized person in the world, I try. I'm trying to get better every day. That's the important part. Things like, having a nice way to carry your cards, that helps both on site at an LGS or at an event, but also when you're traveling to somewhere, the last thing you want to do is lose your cards or have them get damaged.
I know.
All right, so now we're going to have the big talk that we are seasoned veterans.
Yup.
Traveling with decks.
Traveling with Commander.
Traveling with magic cards.
In general.
If you are fortunate/unfortunate enough to have to go through an airport, you already know the TSA will probably flag you for carrying big giant stacks of 100 cards that they can't see through, and they're gonna want to look at it.
It looks like a giant black box through their little monitor, so I don't blame them, but it does happen if you are doing carry-on. So, be prepared for that if you're going. Every single time I take my deck boxes out, I know people are like, oh, I never have to, and that's awesome, but every time I have taken them out of my backpack, and they still flag it in the bin and want to look at them. So it's like, it's gonna happen anyway, so I just get them out.
Yeah, and you can't always guarantee this, but generally the more organized it is when they look at it the first time, the nicer they will treat it. And again, you can't guarantee this, but generally the nicer you treat your crap, the nicer they're going to assume it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one thing that helps too is like as you're putting it, if you are again traveling via air, if you're putting it on the belts or anything, tell the person who's scanning, hey, excuse me, there's some card decks in here. Give them the heads up that that's what it is.
Yep.
So they don't just open it.
I've never thought of that.
They don't just open it.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
That's the worst. So if you tell them ahead of time, like, hey, there's cards in here, that's what that is, you might actually save yourself some time and some stress later on when they're trying to open a box. They're holding it upside down and just about to open it. It's just like, hey,
no.
they're loose in there. It actually flips over.
They do often call out. They're like, whose purple bag is this? And you can say, it's mine. It has cards in it. Please be careful with
I love that Sydney yelled here.
I know.
You're telling the TSA agents.
It's okay.
It's called
We found you, okay? And exactly, like we're talking about this as a carry-on situation. I personally always carry on my magic
not
cards.
check
I do not want to lose them. I do not want my bag lost. And if that happens, I don't want my important things in it, period. That's just the way it's always
We don't
been.
really need to talk about how expensive magic cards and magic
do
decks
not.
can be.
Commander decks especially, y'all know.
Yes.
You bought your singles at cardkingdom.com where you are, and you know exactly how much you spent to make your deck beautiful and make it yours.
Oh, yes.
And you do not want that money disappearing when the checked baggage just
disappears into
flies
the
away.
aether.
Yeah,
So-
don't want that. Don't want that.
Also, another fun thing, if you happen to have your cards with you when you're like in the terminal, especially on your way to and from large magic events, you can
Airport
usually
Commander.
find Airport
Oh my
Commander
gosh,
played on the ground.
Nothing like Floormander. It's my favorite.
Floormander,
I love
or
Floormander.
in any of like the cafes or the bars around too. Sometimes people will have
I will
those.
absolutely play at a terminal on the floor. I've done it many times, and I will never stop. It's the best.
And on top of that, if you're playing a new deck like we talked about earlier, you can goldfish. Like,
Yes.
When I've built new decks, like when I built my Una, I like goldfished it the entire flight, like on my little tray table. And I was like, oh, this is what I'm going to expect with this. This is what I'm going to fish out with my Diabolic Tutor. Like I learned my deck so that I wouldn't know what to do when I sat
It's really
down.
fun when you find combos like that. Like
Yeah.
you didn't even realize were there because you're like, oh man, this works perfectly with this, and you have them like set up in two different ways, and then you get them together, and you're like, wait a minute,
Oh.
this also works, yay! So,
All right, shall we?
are we?
Oh.
That might have been the best one.
I think
yet.
that was
that
the
was
best. I
really
even remembered
good.
my left-handed not to knock the mic stand away. So
For traveling, you have to put the deck boxes in something.
Yeah.
Like they got to go somewhere. You're not going to carry 10 deck boxes in your hand. There's a lot of ways to do that.
Why can't I hold all these
Jump.
junk?
Just excuse me, I'm coming through.
Don't do that.
What
You'll
am I gonna do
definitely
with
get
all
fined
these
by
deck
the
boxes?
TSA for that.
I know you both have run the like little toolkits.
Yes.
the transparent part. If you have something with a window on it, that actually really helps because then the
It
TSA doesn't have
does.
to look. By opening, they see it right there,
Yeah.
and that makes it way more helpful. Again, they still might open it, but
Yeah.
I actually
you at least can negate most of that
Yeah.
because they see exactly what it is inside there.
Exactly. And I actually found, like, there's so many different ways you can do it. I normally use a backpack and throw them all in there. That's hard on your back, but it worked. But I didn't really like it because it was like, it was just a mess. I was constantly like digging through all my other stuff in my backpack to get the deck boxes out. So I actually found this drone bag, which
It is so cool.
It's so neat.
It's super awesome.
it's meant for drones, but it's modular, and you can so you can fix the different compartments however you want to build them. And I have a video where I go through it, and it holds up to 20 decks plus 3 play mats and
you
a
had
laptop.
Tokens. You had sleeves in there. There's still room for a laptop. Like it was
Still room for snacks and ibuprofen
and it
and all
was
that
like
stuff.
$30.
Yeah,
Like,
it was really
super
cool.
super budget option and held everything you need. You can definitely make a compartment for snacks because
yeah.
we know how important snacks are.
I'm probably gonna I could easily make that to where I could put my day clothes in that as well, because I'm not gonna carry 20 decks with me. I'm sorry. Like I don't need 20 commander decks.
Why not?
Oh gosh, that's
Don't
a lot.
look at me like that.
Okay, just because you can deadlift us doesn't mean that you need to carry 20 commander decks on you. You can.
You can.
You can.
I do
I'm not.
I do recommend that you kind of have to have the discussion with all of your decks. You have to leave some of your children at home.
Hey guys, you're staying home this trip.
It's not personal.
So if you have
like it's just we were at the last one and everyone was really sad.
if I'd have to, I love my Niv Mizzet deck more than you. I'm sorry. But if you have to have that choice, consider maybe bringing I'll bring my 9 or 8 power good deck. I'll bring my doofy, all I have to do is turn dinosaur sideways deck. I'll bring one weird combo deck.
And I'll bring my Liliana with 28 lands.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
Don't laugh at me. The odds are always against her and it's her own fault.
You have a deck
That's
to
why
cover everything.
Thank you. That's
It
why
truly is thematic. It truly is thematic.
I knew exactly what I was doing when I built that deck. It works every time 60% of the time.
Keep telling yourself that. Sorry,
okay.
Michael.
And then also one of the things that I've never done, but I literally at the last event I was at, I just saw that someone did this and I was like, that is genius. It was at Magic Fest Austin actually. People put their names on their deck boxes. So that if they're lost, you label them so that if you lose them,
You would
hopefully-
be surprised the decks that commander players will just leave on a countertop.
Well, because you don't even realize it. You're just packing all your stuff. You grab
Yeah.
everything, but
Your legacy deck.
put your name on it. There's a lost and found, and you know what?
You'd be surprised when people return.
People are really nice and actually do put things back because they get it.
Every
They
day on Twitter
understand.
or Reddit, you hear stories about people getting their legacy lands decks returned to them and stuff, and it warms your heart.
Yes.
But also it's terrifying.
It also gives
So
you a
keep
minor
your
panic
stuff.
attack on the inside.
Yeah,
that
label
got.
it, say if lost, contact blah.
Put a phone number on it. Put the your burner email, but that you still get the
your
stuff
Twitter
in your
handle,
inbox.
something.
Yeah.
So that they can find it.
What do you guys do on sleeving? Do you guys double sleeve or no?
Yeah, I saw on here someone's like, you should double sleeve everything. And I'm like, who double sleeves? Oh my god. My
can't shuffle
goodness.
it.
I cannot hold a double sleeve deck. A commander deck.
Okay, listen, I can't hold a commander deck either, but that doesn't stop me. Especially if I'm going to yeet it onto the ground, it better be double sleeve.
Oh my
true.
gosh.
That's a good point.
So if you want it and you're worried about that, double sleeve it.
I recommend it.
Okay.
I mean, I guess this is actually a good segue. If you have beverages or food that don't close completely,
Don't put them on the table.
Don't put them on the table. I have a travel mug that I can trust.
Dumps water out right now.
That would be so
I know.
funny.
That's,
my
you'll
lap.
notice
We'll fix it in
you'll
post.
notice I snapped it first. But I'm okay putting this on a table because I would put this over my most expensive deck. And I'm fine.
I'm nervous with her just doing this right here.
But I still put it on the ground.
Yeah.
Closed because I don't want to pay for anybody else's stuff. I don't know how they sleeved it. I don't know what it costs. Be mindful of that. Same with the artist tables. Don't hold coffee over artist
my
tables. Don't
gosh.
sit down drinks on artist tables.
That's a little sideways, but it's very important.
Yes.
Respect other people's space.
At Magic Fest Austin, I was walking by the old school Magic vendor booth.
My heart's already beating
I
too
know.
fast.
And there was a thing lifted up. You could see where someone spilled their coffee. And I was just like, oh, no.
Anyway, you don't want that on you. So remember to set food down. Bring an empty thing of Tupperware if you think you're going to eat and put your food in there and then close it up. Don't have it near the cards. Don't grease print on someone else's things or your own. Just be really mindful that
God,
food
it's
and
like
drink.
Olivia's personal horror story.
I know. I'm like,
over there.
You can hear my voice shift when I'm talking about it. Be really careful with other people's stuff and try to remember that when you sit down to play and you're hungry or thirsty.
And speaking of when you sit down to play,
Where are we playing?
How do you find where to play, especially when you're at events? Okay, we get it. If you go to an LGS, it's probably going to be a little easier to find out where to play. But
sure.
let's say you're going to your first Magic Fest or Command Fest. A lot of people think that the only reason to be at a Magic Fest is if you're playing in the main event, and that's honestly not the case.
Patently untrue.
Maybe
played
it
a main
used to be,
event out of
yeah.
us?
Like the side events and like Command
What's
Zone is where
Magic?
it's at.
Exactly, it's true. I'm really grateful for the command zones now that we get a dedicated space, that's for sure. But it's not the only place you can play command.
Right.
No.
Especially at those. So
You can pick up games around the area. You can find people outside in like the cafeterias.
Yep.
definitely, yeah.
And if you're not at a Magic Fest, there's actually there's been a really large uptick in like gastropubs and restaurants and cafes with a gaming focus, since a lot of, I mean, we have partially just to thank like the fact that it's, you know, we kind of live in the age of nerd chic. Like, you know, there's a Marvel movie in theater every other day and everyone's into nerdy stuff, and Magic's gotten really popular. It's the year of Commander 2020.
Heck yeah.
I know.
Every year's the year of command.
Well, for you, yes. But for everyone else, and according to Watsy, so there's tons of places where you can go and, obviously tip your waiters and waitresses and, pay for your food and your stuff. But there's plenty of really cool places. I mean, my hometown has quite a few. And they're usually okay with you. That's the purpose of the restaurant, is like they have board games on the wall. Generally, if someplace has board games on the wall, they'll probably be okay with you playing Magic. Obviously like bars, restaurants, all sorts of cool places like that.
Anywhere with a table that's big enough, and as long as you're like paying for the space.
Right.
Yep.
Get some appetizers, get a drink, whatever.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Easy.
And then again, if you're ever in a weird city, random place, whether it's for school or for work or whatever, I always travel with like one Magic deck on me. Check out the local Magic scene there. It's a great way to figure out, you're like, well, I'm stuck here for 4 days, what am I gonna do? Maybe I'll find Commander to play.
I pre-released Rivals of Ixalan in Belgium when I was living there.
Oh, wow.
And it was neat because thankfully at least most of my opponents spoke some English. Sure. We got English speaking. We got English cards, but they also had French ones available. So I was like, okay, either way, I'll be okay there. But I went and pre-released, Rivals, I think,
Sure.
at an LGS in Antwerp, and actually ended up making a couple friends out of it. We took trips like around places because I was brand new there. I didn't know anything about living in Antwerp.
Ask about places to eat then.
Yeah,
so much.
It was great. I just showed up hoping for the best, got 2 new friends out of it, and it was awesome. It was amazing and completely out there because, again, it's in Dutch. I don't know what's happening. And I just rolled up and I was like, yeah, but I know the pictures on the cards. We're going to be fine.
We're great.
Everything's
We're good.
great.
We're good.
Sure,
It was
yeah.
amazing.
I was recently in Montreal, and the first thing I did was I hit up Twitter, and I just was like, hey, Magic Twitter, where do I go in Montreal for some games? Otherwise, like Facebook's a pretty good option. There's a lot of like local Facebook groups and stuff like that. Generally, generally in LGS you're gonna be able to Google search it up and just,
And I think Reddit as well, there's a couple threads. Check the date, of course, of when it was posted, but you can also, people are asking the same questions, and then you can call the store and ask what like their Commander scene is there to make sure like it's not just like straight up modern.
And if there's any podcasts that you listen to, if they have like Discord communities or any kind of groups, you can always ask on there, hey, I'm new to said area. Is anybody else from around here? Obviously, we have 2 things in common. We play Commander and we listen to this podcast or, watch this community or whatever. And you can take it from there and find out suggestions of where to play, how to play, who to play with maybe, because why not? Now that there's more people in their area, get a game in.
Yeah, it's a great thing to do. And, that's what Magic is. It's a game. It's a way to meet people. It's a way to fill some time.
It's the gathering.
It's the gathering.
Okay, to the listeners, do you have any tips for playing with different players? Any fun, epic stories that happened because it was a new playgroup? Let us know in the comments below. We want to hear your Commander stories. We want to hear what it was like playing Commander for the first time with maybe the pod you've been playing with the longest.
Yeah, how did you meet your current?
Yeah. Let us know. And now. Yeah, I was like, should we do it? Okay.
No, it went there.
Oh, no, you got to redo it now. We got there.
Nailed it.
Okay. All right.
First try.
Never didn't have it.
And so maybe you are going to a Magic Fest for the first time, or maybe you are traveling for the first time. Before you do, make sure to hit up cardkingdom.com/command zones to buy the things you need for your deck. Those tokens,
Super fast shipping.
those dice.
They have those super sweet UltraPro satin towers too, don't they?
Yes,
it's a really
they
good
do.
travel.
They have a lot of
Yeah.
the satin towers. So yeah, hit up cardkingdom.com/command zone to get all of that stuff. And again, like she said, satin towers, UltraPro. Big thanks to UltraPro for sponsoring this show, as well as just making so many really cool products for us to use. The satin towers are amazing. They also have like these cool alcoves that are really, really nice. I love their Eclipse sleeves. And
Obviously those new playmats too.
yeah, the new playmats. So nice. But they're turns out playmats weigh a lot if you have a lot of them. Like traveling to
They
events
sure
and
do,
getting
Sif.
playmat. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they sure do.
Okay, so let's go on and move to the instep. Usually at this point of the show, we talk about something outside the world of Magic, and usually we have a friend do it.
And I've
I'm
done
a
it
friend.
before.
Yeah. So you're up, Tappy.
So in my real life non-magic stuff, I am a food scientist, which means that I'm a huge nerd, but I'm also a huge nerd who eats extremely well. I've been privileged enough to kind of have grown up like just inundated in a food culture. I had a lot of food service jobs and stuff, both through college and kind of around college. And my favorite thing about traveling is going and finding new restaurants that are kind of, especially if you're in a foreign country or a part of, obviously the US is pretty big and there's plenty of other large countries around. If you're in a place that has any kind of specialty or something a little bit out of your comfort zone, I highly recommend that you experience a new place through food. One, you're going to have to do it anyway. Everybody's got to eat. And also, it's such an intrinsic way of the human experience. Everyone eats. Everyone has kind of this thing that they all come together around. And so much of culture is based around food too. I could go on and on and on. But highly recommend that if you're ever in a new place, you check out, again, Magic Twitter's a great place. Magic players love food.
There are many foodies on there.
Yeah, Magic Twitter's a great place to ask. When I was in Montreal, the first thing I did, before I even asked where an LGS was, I was like, hey, Magic Twitter, where do I eat? And of course you have, some of the big names of Magic food Twitter, like Sheldon Menery, huge foodie. BDM, huge foodie.
Josh
Also,
Yeah.
how could I forget? So yeah, obviously huge important thing to me. And if you have any, even if you're a little bit of a picky eater, especially if you have any kind of food allergies or any kind of religious restrictions on your diet, there are so many options to places that aren't just chains. And it's 9 times out of 10, you're going to have such a great experience trying something new. I would just say that the next time you're traveling, in addition to, maybe finding a new magic group, and maybe they can tell you where to go. Maybe they have a favorite haunt to go. Even if it's just a local bar versus the Applebee's that's next door to it, I would say go check out the new place. You're going to have a better experience. It's probably cheaper. And you're going to have something to do. And everybody loves food pictures on social media too.
Oh, yeah.
So get them clicks.
Where did you end up going in Montreal?
I went to this place called Pied de Cochon, which is pig feet. And I ate everything that had duck on it on the menu.
Oh my gosh.
Duck is...
At a pig place? I'm teasing.
Well, yeah. But oh my god, it was so good. To be fair, I guess I also had a lot of foie gras too, but that's not duck, that's goose. But anyway, super good. And again, there's things all around price points too, and the average Google search will probably get you there. So I highly recommend it. Go eat good food.
Make awesome memories while you travel and play Commander.
Yes. Yep. Play Commander, eat food, have a good time.
Yeah. 8 drops.
All right, I'm going to give a shout out to our editing team, which is grown exponentially.
Good, because they're going to have a job on
I know.
Oh, I know. This is a whole thing.
Big shout out to Craig Blanchett, myself, Ashlen Rose. Hey, Ashlen Rose! Yay! Lady Danger, who has made these amazing lower thirds and the graphics you're seeing right now that show all of our socials. Alfred Estaca. Special thanks to Josh Murphy and Jake Boss, who kill it every time on game nights, and Sam Waldo as well for all the amazing animations on that. And a special thanks to Jeffrey Palmer for the living card animations that you see all around us all the time. You really bring a special part to this show and really make it live. So thank you. All right, I think that's it.
I think that's it.
Peace.
Peace.
Thank you for your attention. For further inquiries, send an email to commandcast@rocketjump.com or ask us on Twitter @JFWong and @JoshLeeQuai. See you later, alligator.
Greetings, humans.